Hello, and welcome to another episode of commUNITY. We are just a little over a month away from a big decision for people in the city of Buffalo.
Yeah, the race for the mayor's office, and that's where we begin this month on commUNITY.
Earlier this month, I had the opportunity of being one of the panelists for probably the only mayoral debate.
Yeah, and India Walton and Mayor Byron Brown, the heavyweight contenders in this race, pulled no punches.
My life has not been much different than a typical person who grew up on the east side of Buffalo. I've survived poverty, abuse, and trauma, and that's why I'm running for mayor. Buffalo remains the third poorest city of its size in the country. We're going to focus on creating good, green, union wage jobs. We're going to tackle our childhood-led issues, and we are going to build a safe and healthy Buffalo together.
For almost 16 years, I have had the honor and privilege of serving the residents of Buffalo as your mayor. Together, we have worked to build a city that was in financial distress and brought that city to a city that has finally increased its population for the first time in 70 years.
The first thing we do is we stop police from being dog catchers, homelessness outreach, mental health counselors, and we put professionals into those roles that is their job to do.
India Walton is completely wrong when she says she hasn't campaigned on defunding police.
We cut police overtime. We can end the militarization. We don't need tanks on the streets when people peacefully protest. There are lots of ways.
She said that she would cut $7.5 million from the police department budget, which is clearly defunding police, and that would result in 100 less police officers on the streets of this community.
The $7.5 million my opponent is referencing comes from a very good study that was put out by the Partnership for the Public Good that after a great audit of the police budget suggests that positions can be eliminated through attrition and the budget can be decreased by decreasing overtime and properly staffing the police department. That's not defunding, that's a responsible use of taxpayer dollars.
Thank you, thank you.
What makes you qualified to be mayor of the second largest city, and what's your experience in managing government, handling multi-million-dollar budgets, working with big developers, because that has to be done. So Mayor Brown, obviously, you are the mayor, you have the experience, but why should you serve another 4 years?
I have successfully managed the finances of the city. We have cut the tax rate in the city of Buffalo to the lowest level in 30 years. Property values have gone up in the city of Buffalo, and there has been over $8 billion of development in the city during my tenure as mayor.
I don't have government experience, but as I said before, I'm a registered nurse, and what I learned was that we plan, we implement, and we evaluate. And what has not happened over the last 16 years is an evaluation of how we're spending our money, where we're putting our priorities, and that needs to happen. When something isn't working, then we need change. Cutting taxes means that we are not funding municipal services like trash pickup and snow removal. So let's think about what's actually being said, and let's not allow the wool to keep being pulled over our eyes.
Public records show that the Fruit Belt Land Trust did not build a single house. So I'd like her to explain how she was such a successful executive director of the Fruit Belt Land Trust that built not one single house. So what she just said was completely false.
It's amazing that in your own city you don't know what's going on. We definitely built 2 houses. The addresses are 162 and 166 Rose. We did it in partnership with Habitat for Humanity because we secured an $800,000 grant from Enterprise Community Foundation, and the city refused to let us pursue a bigger project. So we had to settle for 2 houses, and we had to partner with Habitat for Humanity on the demand of the city of Buffalo.
Now we hear her saying she built 2 houses. That was your great success with the Fruit Belt Land Trust, 2 houses which she did not build. Habitat for Humanity built those houses.
We could have done much more had we had the cooperation of the city of Buffalo. That is part of the reason why I'm running for mayor, because I know there are so many people who do such good work in this community, and the barrier we face time after time comes from the second floor of City Hall, and it's time that we end that right now.
Thank you, Ms. Walton.
And while the mayor and the Democratic nominee certainly went head-to-head on many issues, the two other write-in candidates on the stage, Attorney Ben Carlisle and Republican Jazz Miles, well, they went after the frontrunners.
Buffalo deserves better representation, people that will stand up for you. I, Jazz Miles, will have Buffalo's back from the front.
I have absolutely zero experience in politics. I've never pandered, I've never fear-mongered. I've never wasted taxpayer dollars on propaganda and pork. I'm running for mayor because the people of Buffalo shouldn't have to choose between someone who's done that for the last 16 years or a socialist.
Byron Brown, you and the Democratic Party have failed this city. We have come in the top 10 on a Forbes list of the most dangerous cities in America under your 16 years, my brother.
I think at a time when violent crime is at an all-time high in the city, talking about eliminating or defunding or reallocating resources from our Buffalo Police Department is a really reckless idea.
There will be no defunding of the Buffalo Police Department under a Jazz Miles administration. That's first and foremost. The number one thing that's going to happen is we are going to eliminate Buffalo as being a sanctuary city.
The increase in crime is directly attributed to closing down our schools and closing down our businesses.
What is going on with the property in Buffalo, New York, where developers get to come in, buy property on the cheap, especially after the pandemic that they want to blame everything on. Developers are going to buy this property on the cheap. It's not going to give the average Buffalo citizen a chance to own a home for them to be able to take care of themselves. Now, owning a home is something else that also does not happen under socialism. So if you're voting for the socialist ticket, you don't get to own a home. They do not like property owners. They do not like free speech, just so we can clear this up.
My wife Azima is from India. She came here when she was 18. When she came to Buffalo, she had nothing, but she put herself through college and then med school, and now she's an ER doctor. According to India Walton, the socialist who wants to be our mayor, it is impossible for a poor, brown, Muslim immigrant to get ahead in Buffalo without massive governmental intervention. But that is a lie. What it takes is a dream and hard work.
I want to be mayor of the city of Buffalo to provide government that is representative for everyone that lives here. I want government to be accessible to all residents. Government is extremely accessible to these developers. The developers have red tape removed. The community has red tape on them. If you want to stop people from committing crimes, then you want to give them an opportunity to effectively live in their communities without having to take from others, without having to sell drugs. So the greatest thing is just to give people opportunity. I would definitely look at how money is being spent, how effectively that it is being used before we start talking about raising taxes.
The term defunding the police and reallocating funds to the police, where do you stand on that?
So we have to look at how, again, they're using the resources that they have, because if we are in the third poorest city, how can our police department afford to be militarized? The police aren't stopping crime. They are not doing a very good job of solving it.
If you'd like to hear more from any of the candidates, we have the debate posted at WGRZ.com.
You may want to definitely check that out.
Ashley Holder has a great talk with someone who's always on the offensive line, that is. Buffalo Bill Deion Dawkins. Welcome back to Community. Now onto a subject that a lot of people across Bills Mafia are super excited about. Another Buffalo Bills season.
And our Ashley Holder had a chance to sit down with someone who, he's really the snowman, Deion Dawkins. Big on the field, but he had a struggle with COVID.
You already snowed advised, man. Listen.
Known as the Snowman, left tackle Deion Dawkins is probably one of the Bills' most animated players.
Bills Mafia, let's go! Let's get it! Let's go!
After a $60 million contract extension last season, Dawkins was ready to attack training camp and help the Bills make another run at an AFC East title before a positive COVID test sidelined his goal.
When you first found out that you got COVID, how did that happen?
Man, my body had told me. I feel normal, I'm ready to practice, it's the first day of camp. what's going on? That next day is honestly like when it started to hit. And then that second day, then it hit hard. And then it was just like, man, this is serious.
Dawkins' mind was no longer specifically on football, but just surviving. He spent almost a week in the hospital at Buffalo General, isolated from his teammates, family, and friends.
You're a really animated guy.
Yeah.
You're always happy. You're always
Yeah.
running around. So how tough was that for you to have to almost sit down and feel the way that you did those couple of days?
Man, I would say, Ash, that was probably the first time in a long time that I've actually sat down. You know, I don't stop moving. I'm always, and like you said, animated and on go. But when I'm 27, sitting in a hospital bed, hurting, just laying there alone, literally, it was just hard.
For Dawkins, he was already fully vaccinated and his symptoms were incredibly severe.
Why is my COVID so bad, but the other people that had it and was like, yeah, it was just a mild cold, I had it for a couple days, it ain't nothing. And then I got it, and it was like I got the worst flu or the worst sickness in the world. And I didn't really understand it. I was like, why me? You know, I take it as a blessing that I went through it, because now I know. And now I truly know from a firsthand experience that, this stuff really ain't no joke.
Would you, after this situation, urge people to get vaccinated just to be safe?
So that's a great question. I want people to honestly look at my story and see how it affects you and dissect your household and just make the right decision for your household. Get the knowledge, talk to people about it, talk to people that had it, talk to people that didn't have it. Please just look at my story, honestly, and just make what's right for you and your household.
In 2011, Dr. Catherine Collins started the Victorian Luncheon and Tea. The sole purpose was to make sure women get proper information on health care from a health professional. Dr. Collins says it's because she wants women to live. Get a physical once a year, get a mammogram. That's the reason for the not-for-profit Women's Health Broadcast Network.
I've been on the air for 10 years, giving them just basic information and having them write down little notes to their doctor when they go in to ask them pertinent questions about their health care.
Just getting a checkup and trying to be healthy.
We are now going to the physicians when we have a problem. Women were always just shoved aside and was not taken serious. Now we go in with ammunition, and I tell my listeners, tell them that you heard it from Dr. Catherine Collins, and so they know that they've been in contact or they have listened to a health professional, and they listen. The physicians will listen then. So the more information we have, that's the armor that we need to protect our health. A lot of physicians, a lot more. And women open up not only to just the physicians, but the nurse practitioners who are mostly female, or physician's assistants, which are mostly male, but female as well.
We all know taking care of our skin is important, especially wearing masks and getting ready for the seasonal change. Meet the woman behind Skincare Essentials by Jill, a vending machine in the Walden Galleria, and the items are also online.
It's a skincare business that helps with acne, dry skin, dark spots, facial scarring, hyperpigmentation. It was started 2 years ago in inspiration of my daughter. 6 weeks of age, she developed eczema, and I was just wanting to help her and not put steroid-based cream on her skin, and wanted to help her in a more natural way. And that's how my business started, from my daughter then. Everything is handmade by myself as well. I am in the process of hiring staff, but it's manufactured. I have business space, so all of my products are there with everything that I make. I'm a nurse, and so I go to a lot of vending events that would sell out fast there. And just with COVID and the pandemic, there's been such a strong need to help people with the daily use of our mask. People are getting acne and oily skin underneath their mask, so it grew even more since the pandemic. And the skincare vending machine came to me, and no one had it. No one had their own natural base product inside a vending machine. And with me growing the way that I did, I was looking around and researching, came up with the skincare vending machine, and here we are. I wanted my vending machine to be different. I didn't want it to look like a Pepsi and soda snack machine because it wasn't. I want it to look like a state-of-the-art machine. Inside we have body moisturizers, which is whipped body butter for dry skin. The eczema body butter, which speaks for itself. It helps target eczema a little bit more. There's soap in here. There's a whip soap where you're washing your body with just your hands. There's body scrubs. My constant #1 seller has been the turmeric items. Turmeric helps great with acne and inflammation of the skin. And now with the daily use of our mask, so I have a face scrub, a turmeric face scrub, and a turmeric honey bar soap. There's other soap bars, goat's milk soap and oatmeal soap. It's an interactive vending machine, so you can just pick any number you're curious about, say 17, and you come over to the screen. You can slide. It's interactive, so that means you can touch it, you can go back, you can purchase right from here, and you can go to the next item. So 17, we click on 17, you get your picture, you get a description of what it is, the slot number, the price, and it tells you what it does and how it can help you.
It's so 2021 and beyond, so I'll just pick something and I learn about it.
And there you go.
That's
there you go.
What I need.
The #1 seller.
The #1 seller is what I hit.
It's helped my daughter drastically. Her skin is fine. It's perfect. But it's not just helped her, but it's helped so many people. It's helped people not to just always target a certain area, but it's helped people to feel good in their skin. Smooth and healthy skin is always in, but it's helped many people in many ways, especially with the mask use and acne and oily skin. This is something that I never even imagined. It's true, sometimes things just fall in your lap, but I'm very pleased just because I love helping people. I love people to feel good. I believe everyone should feel good in their skin.
And speaking of women's health, the 3rd annual Sadie Strong Community Health and Wellness Expo is on Saturday, October 2nd. It's a free event for the community. It starts at 10 a.m. at the Reverend Dr. Bennett W. Smith Family Life Center on Michigan Avenue. There will be a panel for you to ask a doctor. Also, healthy eating and meal prep seminars and flu shots. To register and get more information, go to the address on the screen, www.sadiestrong.org.
Coming up next on Community.
Celebrating the huge impact of one of the pillars of Buffalo politics, the Honorable Arthur O. Eve.
Welcome back to Community. He is one of the most powerful voices in Western New York political history.
We're talking about Arthur O. Eve. He is the former Deputy Assembly Speaker and a huge advocate for education. At the end of Grider Street is the Arthur O. Eve School of Distinction number 61, and now the face of the namesake graces the building in a mural. Look closely. There are 2 students reading. It is of the former principal reading as a child. Here she is.
I'm that little girl who benefited from Arthur O. Eve's hard work, his accomplishments, and his drive to continue education for everyone, all students, regardless of race, color, and creed.
Julia Bottoms was the artist.
As a black male principal, I am humbled to serve in this capacity at a school that's named after a black male who is truly a pillar in our community. Each day when I pull into this parking spot, this mural will be a constant point of reflection for me in regards to the level of excellence that must be upheld in regards to what happens inside this building.
Arthur O. Eve was a force to be reckoned with in politics, but he had a passion for education. It is because of him that so many people went to college through a program he started called EOP. It's the Educational Opportunity Program.
A lot of the EOP students now are retired. We are retired now. I started college in 1971 as an EOP student. You know, I was plucked out of New York City, and I was a freshman at Geneseo. You know, without Arthur Eve, a lot of us couldn't have gone to school. I did grow up with a mother and a father. You know, my father worked 2 jobs, but he couldn't afford college. So if it wasn't for him, you know, I wouldn't be where I am today.
For the Buffalo Public Schools, during his more than 36-year tenure in the New York State Assembly, he was a champion of delivering additional resources for the Buffalo Public Schools and for school districts across the state.
This dedication is this mural, which I know it will be a beacon for this whole community to see the work that Arthur have started.
Who is the gentleman that our school is named after?
Arthur Ewing, School of the Station.
It was just teamwork. Nothing like teamwork, the power of collective action. And he was blessed to be able to lead that and to produce the results. So I want to say thank you. Thank you. This is special.
Eve, now 88 years old, was not able to attend the celebration. I did speak with him a few years ago.
When you look at the doctors and the lawyers and the school teachers, and you look at all of the professionals who finished, and I knew early on that education was key.
He spent nearly 4 decades in state politics and served as Deputy Assembly Speaker. He was the highest-ranking minority in the legislature. He was the voice of Western New York. He even ran for mayor. He lost, but yet he won.
It was one of the largest voter registration ever.
During the 1971 Attica uprising, he put together a group to resolve the conflict between the guards and inmates. His wife was on hand for the mural unveiling.
When you go home, what are you going to tell Mr. Eve?
My Claudine, this is indefinable. As gifted as I think I am with words, I don't have the words to describe this, because one of the most valuable things that we can all do more than ever is education. From the cradle through the early years. These are so critical years that shape lives. And my husband will have an impact on generations. His gift, not just to the immediate people, but to generations. So his life speaks for him. And I'm so grateful that we could share it for 65 years. So now we enjoy God's gifts of seeing this day to join the others in the impact that will follow him. He will be gone physically, but he'll be very much alive in young children's lives. Oh, yes.
That's why this mural is special to Buffalo.
I want to see nothing but success. Nothing but success, and especially in Buffalo. Education is number one. Buffalo will not make it if we don't educate all of our children.
I am the first Black female artist to be inducted in the Niagara Falls Music Hall of Fame. That right there, I've made history. I never thought I would be the first to do that. I just thought that this has happened. They said, no, you're the first one ever. I said, what? So guess what? I have something to say. Of course I would make history, because I have something to say.
She's the girl with the diamond ring. You know she can shake that thing.
Yes, I've been doing this for 40 years. I know I look like I'm 16, but I'm not.
Lonely days are over. I love you, Mom. And life is like...
I do Etta James impersonations. Mama cooked a chicken. She thought it was a duck. She put it on the table with his legs cocked up. I love you, baby. I'm real. What you see is what you get. I'm not fake, not phony. So I'm passionate at what I do. I love people. I need a belly to hold me up so that I won't fall.
Well, from politics to football to music, once again, community has a little something for everyone.
And that's why we are here. We want to hear from you. Any story ideas? Contact Pete or myself on social media. Until next time, we'll see you on commUNITY.